This patch has more champion changes than we've seen in a single patch all season long, as there are over 23 champions being adjusted. Huge item nerfs are on the way to some of the big ticket fighter items such as Eclipse, Sundered Sky, and Sterak's Gage are all being hit. Patch 14.9 is set to go live May 1st, so let's get you guys caught up with everything you need to know heading into the patch. And remember, if you're struggling to climb in League, Skill Capped is the only place that guarantees you'll climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. Otherwise, you can claim a full refund. We do this because our service really works, and this is the best time of the season to get in on Skill Capped. We've just released tons of site-exclusive courses designed for you to power learn the most important concepts for climbing in League of Legends stupidly fast compared to those who don't use Skill Capped. Join today for unlimited access to the world's most famously effective League of Legends guides, and remember, one subscription gives you access to all of our other games as well. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below to stop wasting time being hard stuck and get the rank you actually want. And with that said, let's get into it. Let's start off the video by covering all of the item changes, and first up we have some buffs to Death's Dance. AD on the item is going up from 55 to 60, heal on kill is being increased from 50 to 75% bonus AD. Build path will also now include a pickaxe. The max health damage proc on Eclipse is being targeted with a nerf, as Riot will be reducing the damage from 8 down to 6% for melee champions. Ranged champion damage for Eclipse will be unchanged. A few nerfs are being issued to Sundered Sky, as the cooldown on the passive proc is being increased from 6 to 8 seconds. Heal base AD ratio is also dropping from 140 to 120%. Sterak's Gage is being hit with two pretty massive nerfs, as the price is going up from 3,000 to 3,200 gold. Lifeline passive cooldown is also nerfed, as it's being increased from 60 to 90 seconds. Over the past patch, Darius players had started rushing Steraks, but with these nerfs, that strategy will likely become obsolete. Hexdrinker and Maw are both being adjusted for next patch, as Riot will be nerfing the magic resist on Hexdrinker, going from 35 to 30. Build path on Hexdrinker will now include a second longsword. As for Maw, the item will now have 15 ability haste. AD is going up from 65 to 70, magic resist is down from 50 to 40, price is going up from 2,800 to 3,100, the lifeline passive lifesteal is being changed to Omnivamp, while the shield duration is going from 2.5 to 3 seconds. So, with these adjustments, the key takeaways are that Maw will now provide more offensive strength while offering less defensive power. We've got a couple base stat buffs lined up for Amumu, with his base AD being increased from 53 to 57. Base armor will be going up as well from 30 to 33. Karma's utility will be buffed for 14.9, with her Q slow going up from 30 to 40%. Her RE AoE movement speed is up as well from 12 to 15%, while RE AoE shield is buffed going from 90 to 100%. Kennen will be receiving some quality of life changes for this patch, as his ultimate has a new animation. His R can now be cast while moving, and E will have a range indicator when you hover over it. Malzahar's early game is going to become significantly more manageable in 14.9. Riot is reducing his E cooldown from 15 to 11 seconds at rank 1. Q mana cost is also being lowered from 80 flat to 60, scaling to 80. Sejuani has been a bottom tier jungler in solo queue for the entirety of Season 14, so we finally have some buffs on the way. Passive bonus resist ratios are going up from 50 to 75%. W damage is being changed so that the base damage is lowered, however the max health damage is going up, and Riot has stated this will be a net buff. Riot has a buff lined up to bolster the scaling strength of Seraphine, as her Q AP ratio will be increased from 50 to 60%. Ahri has been the highest priority solo queue mid laner for a while now, so she's getting nerfed for 14.9. W damage is being lowered by 5, while her ultimate's cooldown is nerfed as well, but only at the 2nd and 3rd ranks. Aurelion Sol has been a mid laner who's excelled in recent patches, so a nerf is headed his way, with his EAP ratio dropping from 100 to 80%. Blitzcrank Nerfs are on the way as well, with his passive shield duration being reduced from 10 to 4 seconds. W movement speed is taking a hit as well, dropping by 10% at all ranks, and 2 nerfs are lined up for Evelynn, as she's going to have the slow on her W lowered from 65 to 45%, while her alt's AP ratio is dropping from 75 to 65%. Riot's looking to reduce the early to mid game snowball strength of Jinx for the next patch, as her ultimate cooldown will be increased from 70 to 85 seconds at rank 1. Originally, it was looking like Riot were going to be heavy nerfing Kassadin's ultimate, but they've pulled back on that change and are issuing a much less impactful nerf with his E-AP ratio going from 80 to 70%. We've got a very simple yet impactful nerf to Master Yi, as Riot will be reducing his E damage by 10. Top lane Olaf is being targeted for 14.9 as Riot's reducing his Q damage by 5. But so that jungle Olaf does not suffer as much, they're increasing his Q damage to monsters. His ult's passive resists are being lowered as well, but only at the 2nd and 3rd ranks. Pyke has been excelling in the higher brackets of play in recent patches, so a few nerfs are being issued, with his W mana cost going from 50 to 65 and W cooldown being increased by 2 seconds. Skarner has been dominating in patch 14.8, especially in the jungle, so Riot has a few nerfs planned. Mana regen growth is being increased from 0.6 to 0.75. Q-based damage is going down from 10 scaling to 70 to 10 scaling to 50. W shield max health ratio is dropping from 9 to 8%. W slow is nerfed as well, going from 20 scaling to 40% to just 20% flat at all ranks. A couple of nerfs to Taliyah are penciled in, with her Q mana cost being increased by 10, and Q bonus monster damage AP ratio is dropping from 10 to 5%. Twitch will have his early game significantly nerfed, as his base health is dropping from 682 to 630. Health per level is going up though, from 100 to 104. His ultimate bonus AD is taking a dip, dropping by 10 at all ranks, and W slow AP ratio is being reduced, going from 6 to 5%. The later game durability of Urgot is being targeted, as his armor per level is dropping from 5.45 to 5. There are going to be around 30 champions who will have their hitbox changed for next patch to match their model size. Champs like Aurelion Sol, Briar, Cassante, Nefiri, and Warwick will all become larger, while Darius and Yuumi are becoming smaller. Riot's adjusting Akshan for the next patch so that his mobility and wave clear are nerfed, but damage is buffed. Q movement speed is dropping from 20 scaling to 40% to just 20% flat. Q non-champion damage is being lowered from 40 scaling to 90% to 40 scaling to 80%. His ultimate's minimum damage is up from 20 scaling to 30 to 25 scaling to 45, while the total AD ratio is going from 10 to 15%. R max damage will be slightly lowered at rank 1, but buffed at the later ranks. R max damage total AD ratio is up as well from 40 to 45%. Riot will be nerfing the late game strength of Bel'veth while buffing her early game for 14.9. Q monster damage is being changed from 140% total AD to 45 scaling to 85 flat damage, and this will be a buff up until 136 attack damage. Q damage total AD ratio is dropping from 110 to 100%. Passive attack speed is being changed as well, so that it now scales from level 1 to level 17 instead of maxing out at level 13, which is a nerf. Riot wants Emax Janna to make a comeback in 14.9, as they are nerfing W damage at max rank, going from 195 down to 175, while W AP ratio is down as well from 60 to 50%. E will now have an added 20 shielding at max rank to compensate. Riot's changing Nilah so that her Q damage is lower, but her Q attack speed is up. Although they have these listed as adjustments, we do see them landing net negative, as gaining attack speed in exchange for losing AD. It's not something that Nilah really wants, as she thrives in solo queue due to her ability to catch out targets and burst them out, as opposed to sustaining consistent damage throughout a drawn out fight. Alright guys, and one last thing, our rank up guarantee is insane. It's like signing up for the gym and getting a refund if you don't get ripped. That's how confident we are in our service. We obsess over making the best guides with top players, rigorous testing, and top tier video editing to make your climb easy. If you're ready to level up, visit skillcap.com and see the difference. And that's going to wrap everything up for this one, as those are all the new changes we can expect to go live for patch 14.9. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.